Take drugs.
Open your mind to a new podcast experience. This is the F+, It's Terrible Things, read with enthusiasm. And in the room tonight, we got Boots Raingear.
My Yale classmates are spineless dweebs.
Jimmyfranks.
Chris Cantelmo once shot a man just for snoring too loud.
Oh, hey, it's Cheapskate.
A meme that makes the front page of Reddit announces my discovery that DMT cures brain cancer is going to become the most awarded post in Reddit history.
And it's Sanguinary Novel?
Every single brain has the same capacity to be genius. All of it takes is adding DMT to it. If adults refuse to rediscover DMT, they will remain stunted and ignorant and stupid.
Does this episode have Zarla, too?
Anyone who tarnishes the natural world, and particularly the plant and ocean worlds, will be killed and eaten by our new supreme rulers. If you are reading this, you are enlightened enough to know how to proceed from this day forward.
But it does have lemon. Oh, and Mercury used to be a sun. It's the second densest object in the known universe, next to Joe Rogan.
Give that man some Reddit gold.
I don't like him. He says unintelligent shit and talks about drugs all the time.
Take my Reddit gold, sir.
Start a forest fire! Candles on the lawn! Start a forest fire!
Hey, F+.
Hey, Lemon.
Hey, are you all ready for the next phase in my cult?
Yes,
You had a first phase?
finally.
So- 10
You
years
told
of the
me
podcast.
you told me I already made it to the final phase, Lemon.
Yeah,
I was watching the countdown
but, you
site
know,
for
we
days.
announced a new color of scarf, and so you're going to need to get a couple stripes, then you get a new color of scarf, and at that point, Boots, you're going to start earning money. That's when you're going to start earning. I know it hasn't happened yet, but I promise the next phase.
So far, I've given you everything.
You sure have, and thank you, because that really helps out our mission.
You got to work on your downline, Boots.
I gathered you here because I want to talk to you about a fellow by the name of Chris Cantelmo. He is somebody who has posted a bit on Reddit, but we're actually not going to be looking at Reddit a whole lot. We're going to be looking at his own site because Chris Cantelmo is a visionary, is a mentor, and is a fan of drugs. And all of those things will become very apparent very, very soon. This was a episode provided to us by Cheapskate.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for this one. Oh,
You're here
God.
for your crimes.
So that's how many times I have to say your name for you to show up. But yeah, so, you know, I haven't really explained a whole lot about Chris Cantelmo or his philosophy or / religion called Cantelmoism. Ugh, just doesn't work.
We just can't tell more about him.
Moism is a great combination of syllables.
But Boots, looking here at the doc, I think Chris Cantelmo, would you just introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I like going to the website itself, but it hurts me. So I'm going back to the doc.
The only, as we were mentioning
Googling
right
now.
before this recording started, the only site I've seen that uses price down as an actual body font. That's right, the Grand Theft Auto font on everything.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going back to the doc. Okay. Cantelmoism. https://www.cantelmoism.com. My name is Chris G. Cantelmo. I am a Yale biochemist, molecular biophysics and biochemistry in 1984. I have recently discovered that DMT is the natural neurotransmitter that explains everything about humanity and also happens to be an extremely good cure for my cancer.
Whoa.
An extremely good cure. Oh.
Okay.
Not
Wow,
really a cure.
that happened very fast.
Yeah. I mean, I still have cancer. I just don't care.
I'm sorry for giving you all my cancer.
So,
But here,
just as an overview, DMT is a powerful hallucinogen. Sort of really close to ayahuasca. It is a hallucinogen because it is a poison, and in some cases fatal.
To your cancer.
No.
Extremely good cure for your cancer because you won't die from the cancer.
It's a natural transmitter.
Okay, so my sole goal here, now and forever, is to reassure people that love is the only thing that matters.
And take
One
DMT.
one should ask themselves a question anytime they have doubt about the way forward.
Which path will most increase the amount of love and kindness in the world?
Yeah, change your mind, change your life.
It's free.
Join, it's free.
Is it?
All right.
Is it?
DMT is the primary neurotransmitter in our brains before we go through puberty.
Wait, what?
At puberty, simultaneous with an increase in sex hormones, DMT production by the pineal is reduced or eliminated, and we enter the boring, serious world of adulthood and prepare ourselves to raise children of our own.
The innocence gland.
I must have fallen asleep in my health class 'cause I don't fucking remember any of this.
Well, then you're not prepared for children.
Oh.
Nor am I. I feel like I'm never going to get there, strangely. Anyway, we get to have sex, which is nice.
That's
but
nice.
we also have to spend a lot of time in stressful, boring situations required of us to provide a safe environment for our offspring.
Ugh, gross.
For the offspring.
Oh, even grosser.
We find mates.
brood.
We find mates and create a home and have children and then spend about 2 decades raising our kids into adults, and the cycle repeats. We have more children again.
Okay, all right.
Back in better times, before humanity stumbled into an obsession with longevity and a desire to always look and feel much younger than our years, DMT production would be reinitiated when our sex hormones declined.
What?
That's what menopause is.
Oh man, I'm looking
yeah.
forward to menopause now.
When DMT was reintroduced naturally to adults, they reconnected with the spirit world and became a calming and guiding presence to the world. That was a time when wisdom really did reside in our elders. Now we live in a world, at least in the developed countries, where DMT production is not reestablished in the elderly. It has been
Give all elderlies in nursing homes DMT now.
like now that we have elderly.
Now that we have elderly, give the elderly drugs.
People didn't simply die younger. They had DMT and they looked younger.
Is his argument that, like, in the medieval period, everyone was just fucking all the time?
Until they got too old to fuck, at which point they just naturally got high.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
It has been hypothesized, and I think correctly, that fluoridation of our water supply leads to a
Yay!
calcification of the pineal. Fluoride leads to calcium.
Totally makes sense. He's a biochemist.
That's right.
Yale
he is.
Biochemist.
That's right. Yeah, Yale Biochemist.
That means everything he says is true.
Calcification of the pineal combined with our fear of staring at the sun, which activates DMT production, has led to profound stupidity, frankly, in older adults in the modern industrialized world.
Throw away those eclipse goggles.
We're in the industrial age, guys.
Stare at the sun. What are you, a chicken?
Oh,
Our
that's why
age-
Trump never wore glasses during the eclipse. He was trying to activate his DMT.
Yeah, our age is the age of treason. Treason against God and ingenuity.
I love this phase of the
Treason
game.
against DMT. I am hereby ushering in a renaissance of reason and spirituality, which have not been united since ancient times. You all know this all know this is exactly what needs to be done and exactly how things are.
Sure do.
Thank you for your faith in me and allowing me the time and space to figure it all out. Chris
That's what somebody
Cantelmo-
says to you right before they're about to dump you.
Yeah. They also say this: Chris Cantelmo, the king of Reddit, and your kingdom come has arrived.
Dear Reddit, my boyfriend has been hooked on DMT and now has declared himself king of Reddit. Am I the asshole?
So that snapshot was taken by Cheapskate before he had a very Squarespacey redesign here. Chris Cantelmo posted something on his new website. So it's a little bit of an effect, I think a continuation of what you were reading there, Boots, about how this is going for him, right? So this is a true story. I spent yesterday in the hospital. I woke up yesterday with an intense pressure in my forehead, like something was about to burst. I called my primary doctor, blah, blah, blah. I got to the hospital. Once at the hospital, the ER doctor asked what was happening. I told her it felt like something was going to explode in my head and that I was having trouble coordinating my speeches. All of the T's in this Grand Theft Auto font are fucking nuts. I was having trouble coordinating my speech and expressing my thoughts. She asked me what I did for a living. I told her I was a biochemist. She said, "So are you high functioning?" I told her I went to Yale. She snapped back, "I went to Harvard."
I want to see that nerd slap point.
And left the room to order a CT scan and blood test. The attending nurse asked if I had any other symptoms. I told her that I thought maybe I had a stroke and explained the experience I had with DMT several weeks ago. In this experience, the color drained from my vision. I received the message that I, quote, "can't always get what I want." It was sung by a children's choir. It was so weird. After the DMT had worn off, it only lasts like 2 to 3 minutes, my perception of the environment seemed brighter and more intense. And this lasted, as far as I knew, until the next day when I awoke after a very restful sleep, feeling fine, maybe better than ever. I told the nurse that I was probably not explaining myself well, but she disagreed. I was given a CT scan of my brain and had a full spectrum of blood work was performed. The results came back all negative, meaning the experience had been positive overall. Get it? Huh? You like that? That's fun. That's fun. I like wordplay. Anyway, I had a stroke, one I barely recognized. I had a stroke of genius!
Christ.
Oh, boy.
Cue laughing music.
This whole thing was just setting that up.
Sock it to me. DMT is the molecule that allows us to share knowledge in the collective consciousness. God, I did have a stroke. A stroke of genius.
You didn't get the first time.
Joke's so nice, he told it twice.
Stroke of genius. Stroke of genius. Strokes of genius always feel like a pressure building up behind the bridge of the nose. When I figured out how to communicate it, the pressure went away. Not all strokes are bad. We've heard the phrase stroke of genius.
You had one of those benign strokes.
I know that they occur. Does DMT do things to your memory? I never had one before, so I didn't know what they felt like. Now I do. The strokes that involve a burst blood vessel in the brain cause issues that certainly appear unhealthy to an outside observer. It was a different type of stroke. It was a sudden awareness of a good idea.
Christ.
It was.
Can I ask you, what kind of stroke was it?
A stroke of genius.
It just gets funnier every time.
No, it's for our benefit. Since we're not on DMT, he thinks we're all stupid and like all sexed up, so we have no idea what's going on. So he's got to repeat it 4 times to make sure
on
we really get it.
my level.
Next up is the Smothers Brothers.
Also, I know this is an auditorial like medium, but holy shit, the kerning between these words is just pissing me the fuck off. This is what
We're gonna be
DMT
reading down
does
to
to
the
your
doc
kerning.
for most of this. Speaking of Jimmyfranks, if you'll scroll down to page 3 in this document Cheapskate provided us. Do you have anyone that we would like us to meet?
Meet God.
God of meat.
Meet God.
No, that was the other episode.
Yeah.
Our God knows no rules or borders or restrictions to free, wholesome expression of love and kindness and endless generosity. DMT is the God molecule.
Okay. So DMT caused the Big Bang?
Something like that.
Okay.
Note, children, do not try this at home. You are children, still under the influence of God, and you do not need... and you need not overdo things, as is the wont of children.
Don't
I know.
overgod yourself.
Talk to your parents about DMT and God.
Note, those adults currently in touch with God. This does not apply to you either. You are correct in saying that being in touch with God does not require drugs. I don't know why there's quotes around drugs, but okay. DMT is not a drug, as it is made naturally by humans inside humans.
I mean, okay, that's not untrue. that's not untrue.
Oh, so they're not harvesting adrenochrome; they're harvesting DMT.
Stabbing people in the pineal gland.
This is
Oh,
one
like
of those,
the Leech Woman movie.
It's one of those Schedule 2 gods.
I mean, my body makes cholesterol.
Aw, sorry.
The following applies only to humans who refuse the existence of God. Note! The God referred to here is not exclusive to any religion or spiritual tradition, though the core of religions and spiritual traditions is a direct experience with God.
Unitarians.
A wise man once stated that LSD has the extremely dangerous affect of causing psychoses in people who have not taken it.
Have not
Wow,
taken it?
that's a fucking, wow, that guy must have been perceptive as hell.
I have not taken it.
Guys, after 100 studies, I figured out you fucking trip when you take this shit.
Oh no! If you haven't taken it, that's what he said.
Yeah, extreme danger of causing psychoses in people who have not taken it.
You get hotboxed by LSD.
All of you are crazy.
I do tend to lick people when I'm tripping, so that makes sense.
I got a contact high at a Grateful Dead concert. This is a noteworthy similarity between LSD and DMT. Those who come under the influence of DMT have life-amending experiences which they often and correctly interpret as resulting from a closer connection to God. The skeptics will point out that some terrible events have been associated with or resulted directly from someone under the influence of psychedelics. There may or may not be truth to this, and at this time I cannot explain why psychedelics may have negative consequences, except to say that problems may arise when people under the influence attempt to use their egos to overcome the experience. Using one's ego to overcome God will not work. As is true, the day is long.
Somebody stabbed me while they were tripping. Well, that sounds like a you problem.
Gotta get in touch with God. You fucking
Yeah, God calling. DMT God calls for a crusade.
When psychedelics are experienced by people who already have a connection with God, a lovely interaction takes place. As the effect of the psychedelic wears off, the spiritual person returns to a normal with a feeling of renewal, akin to rebirth.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Like how after you come down off mushrooms, you feel refreshed and not tired. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or like when you have a stroke and then the next day you feel amazing.
Wait, what kind of stroke do you mean?
It's like a stroke of genius. So when psychedelics are experienced by people who deny a connection with God, the experience is at first confounding. On one hand, everything in the world appears to be exactly as it should be, exactly as God created. On the other hand, attempts to describe the experience using analytical methods learned in school come up short. A conflict arises. Sometimes the conflict is so great that users swear off psychedelics altogether, afraid that further experiences will leave them damaged, less intelligent, less creative, less ambitious, and so on.
able to speak sentences without swearing.
Others, including myself, conclude that while something amazing occurs under the influence of psychedelics, this area must be explored extremely carefully and with great trepidation. But it must be explored. DMT allows people who deny a connection to God to reestablish the connection with God. People who feel an emptiness in their lives, who have lost hope in the future, or doubt the very goodness of man need not despair. I cannot explain why, because I do not yet know. But when taken by the non-believer, DMT brings one back to God. This is a very good thing. Oh, yeah.
So I know that you are a chemist and not a metaphor.
Well, Yale Biochemist
by
1984.
Trade, so DMT is God. It brings you closer to God. Your parents are God. God is the brain inside you that creates the DMT, which also is God.
You hate God.
In order to bring you closer to God. Yeah, okay, all right,
God,
cool.
you know,
God needs to mind his own business.
I don't see why you're. I don't see those. It sounds like there's so many questions in that, but you perfectly understand it. So.
This guy has absolutely written a letter to his congressman saying, like, we can solve all of our problems in this pandemic if we just send every citizen a dose of DMT.
So this is interesting. Who do you think are the sane ones in this society of ours?
Well, I have got a hot take for you,
Okay.
and I bet you'll never guess.
What's that?
I put on my oven mitts.
Yeah. What if, and bear with me here, schizophrenics are the sane ones?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Just my hands to my
Oh,
cheeks.
what?
I'll give you a moment to scrape your brains off the wall and pick up your monocles.
Flipping that script. Oh my God.
All right, well, Chris Cantelmo, now speaking in the third person, didn't get into Yale, nor does anyone rise to the top of their field of interest by accepting conventional wisdom.
Yeah, you just need the money.
Okay. Point of order.
Nice.
It was
No,
by
it's perfect.
legacy and money, please.
So, like, Ivy League education is all for, like, the rebels who, like, work outside the system, man? Is that how it works?
Yeah, have you ever seen the Stanford Marching Band? Rebels. Huh?
Oh, man. That row team is just finding whatever groove suits them.
Yeah. It's the Whiffenpuffs are leading the charge against the system. Anyhow, back to my revelations. Oftentimes, in fact, most times, conventional wisdom is wise and best left undisturbed. Other times, conventional wisdom leads to generations of stagnation in a scientific or cultural realm. Take schizophrenia, for example. Since the beginning of time, people have wondered, what was schizophrenia? It was assumed it was caused...
Since the beginning of time.
Yes.
Light, darkness, schizophrenia.
Yeah,
Hey, you weren't there. You don't know.
No. Light, darkness, the question of what is schizophrenia, blah, 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 humans, schizophrenia.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Light, darkness, DMT, please.
Yeah. Hallucinogenics, 8 o'clock, day one. It was assumed it was caused by any known disease agent which normals somehow escaped. I hoped you could see my finger quotes. It wasn't until Chris Cantelmo had a eureka moment and realized that everyone starts off as schizophrenic with a brain full of DMT as children and normals phase out as puberty.
What? Christ.
Now that this is a known fact, and we know that schizophrenics are much smarter than normal people, and fully able to visualize all the dimensions known to man, we must celebrate schizophrenia.
Does that mean three? Does that mean three dimensions? The three dimensions?
That means
schizophrenia
the
do know about three dimensions. So
that means the 4-day simultaneous time cube is what it means.
Oh.
So how many of you think that Chris Cantelmo got diagnosed with schizophrenia?
I think you're just speculating at this point.
Oh, he absolutely has not been diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Next, you're going to tell me that he does a shitload of DMT.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn this box of lemons into lemonade.
Humanity owes a huge apology to schizophrenics for making them feel crazy. It is normal people who are disadvantaged. The treatment of schizophrenics is the most extreme case of tyranny of the masses ever perpetuated. Rejoice in the newfound knowledge brought to us by Cantelmo's genius! Amen!
In the third person,
Other articles
like
by
said.
this author include "What if cat was spelled dog?" and "Why don't they make the whole plane out of the black box material?"
What would chairs look like if our knees bent the other way?
So that's cool. Schizophrenics, they're the sane ones. They also are the smartest ones. Smart people such as, for example, Albert Einstein. We're all familiar with Albert Einstein, right? So he was right about most things, wasn't he, Zarla?
No! Einstein was wrong. I'm gonna blow your minds. And
But I just picked it up from the last reading.
Yeah, I just recovered from that last stroke. I don't think I can handle my mind getting blown again.
see, that's how you gotta make it work. It's gotta be rapid fire. It never stops. But here it is. Idea nobody's ever had. It isn't E equals MC2. It is E equals MC3. And now everything works.
Yeah, I now want to
Everything works.
I want to note that on his most recent version of his site, he has updated it to E equals 4/3 pi MC3.
Oh.
Now
Well,
everything
just
works
science
even
is
better.
updating.
Yeah.
It's progressively making things work better. I will give $1 million to the expert nuclear physicist who proves me wrong. This is because the speed of light becomes the radial length in the expanding circle created as matter pours itself into light. The surface area of a sphere is a function of the square of the radius. So RXR, or C times C, equals the speed of light squared. The volume of a sphere is a function of the cube of the radius. Hence, R times R times R, or C times C times C, the speed of light cubed. No more nuclear testing required to calculate yields. Edward Teller, the last true nuclear genius, just going to name drop a bit here, would approve. Boom! I love you. I just created history with you.
Thank
Everybody
you.
come in. Bring it in. Bring
I'm
it
gonna
in.
get sharing credit on this, is all I'm saying.
I don't know you, nor do I know geometry, but I love you.
Much more complicated bumper sticker.
I don't know why in my middle school geometry classes they never made us calculate the speed of light when we were doing the math on circles.
You already
Why was
ran out
that
of
not-
DMT.
My textbook must have been old. I don't know.
You can't create history without me. That's why. Chris Cantelmo is the only one who can create history. You're all just along for the ride.
Sanguinary novel. This is one of my favorite. It's just like this URL. It's a good URL. The URL is contemmoism.com/muse/ quicksedge52 CHV3 LDIO FFFFF M38 VOER and some other stuff.
See, if you were on DMT, you would be able to pronounce it.
That's what it looks like when people slam on their keyboards in rage.
That's the nickname of the gnome in King's Quest.
All right. Fun facts about Chris Cantelmo that makes evil naysayers very mad. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Hint, Chris Cantelmo has already solved this age-old riddle. They both formed simultaneously via spectral scaffolding in the primordial ooze.
God.
Okay, Lemon, look out. Chris Cantelmo has designed over 100 websites in the .NET environment. Hell yeah! He ran the first Google Earth-style website ever created at the domain singletrackmine.com, devoted to creating video topo maps of every single track mountain bike trail in the western United States.
So when I see spectral scaffolding in the primordial ooze, I just think of the dozers from Fraggle Rock.
That's the DMT.
It's delicious.
If he's created 100 different websites in the .NET environment, how come his own 2 websites that he cited here are both in Squarespace?
Look, when you're creating new life and new theory, you have no time for web design.
Agreed.
Do you know Chris Cantelmo has been on every dirt road in Baja California and has photos of his 2 young songs kissing California gray whale babies and adults in both San Ignacio and Guerrero Negro lagoons in Baja Peninsula.
He's got his.
And it does say 2 young songs.
2 young songs.
Okay.
Only one person in the history of the world has ridden a mountain bike twice up and down the Murphy Hogback Canyonlands in National Park in Utah without stopping or letting his feet touch the ground. And that was Chris Cantelmo. Did you know this?
Chris Cantelmo once rode a barrel over Niagara Falls backwards.
Here comes Amos!
I always wondered why North Korean news releases look the way they did, and apparently their journalists are all on DMT.
I heard he drank Coke and ate some Pop Rocks at the same time.
I heard he ate 2 whole Thanksgiving turkeys at once.
Chris
Chris
Cantelmo.
Cantelmo once high-fived Chuck Norris and a black hole appeared.
Some Chris Cantelmo apocrypha. When Chris Cantelmo survived a sting by a scorpion fish while digging clams in Bahia de los Angeles in the Sea of Cortez, did you know his 2 sons wondered if he would survive?
What a weird story.
I didn't.
It's not even like I survived. It's like my sons were scared that I would die. Isn't that amazing? Are you impressed?
I put DMT on that too. My college roommate. I'm sorry. My college roommate, Chris Maxey, is a celebrated Navy SEAL and started the most amazing school in the Bahamas called the Island School. Would you like me to pay your tuition to the
Is it a
school if
school
you get
for islands?
accepted? Great. I will hereby commit to doing so. Please contact Chris or Pam Maxey at the Island School in Luthera, Bahamas.
Did you know that Chris Cantelmo will come to your house and hang out with you?
Chris Cantelmo is not a lawyer.
Did you know that Chris Cantelmo is an Ironman champion and one of the greatest mountain bikers in California history?
Why didn't I know this? Whose fault is it that I don't know any of this?
The only member of ZZ Top who doesn't have a beard is named Chris Cantelmo.
An Ironman race consists of 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and then a 26.2-mile marathon. Chris Cantelmo was a champion in his age group at Weinman Ironman, the oldest Ironman competition in the continental U.S. Can you believe what this guy has accomplished?
No, but I can definitely Google it, and I'm sure you'll be proven right.
Chris
How
Cantelmo
is it
once got
possible?
stuck in a haunted house at the county fair and wasn't even scared one bit.
I can't believe this guy accomplished writing a bunch of words on the internet.
Chris
How
Cantelmo
is
has
it-
an uncle who works for Nintendo and gets him all the games for free, including Super Mario 6, where the princess gets naked.
How is it possible that
Cantelmo
Chris
definitely doesn't wet the bed anymore.
That's a side note, like in 2-point font. How is it possible that Chris Cantelmo used to be able to free dive up to 100 feet deep and hold his breath for up to 3 minutes, allowing him to spearfish huge yellowfin tuna and wahoo in the open ocean while fending off attacking sharks?
How is that possible?
Did you know that Chris Cantelmo's first company was named Metachem by him?
No, I sure didn't know that.
Did you know that Chris Cantelmo was the first graduate of Yale University to ride both a giant manta ray and a 40-foot whale shark off of La Paz, Mexico in a single day?
Oh, wow. I was gonna, over 2 days, that would have not been impressive, but in 1 day? That's amazing.
That's a full day. I mean, you got to get up early, and you're probably not
That is a
getting
lot.
to bed till midnight.
That is a lot. That is a lot. Yep.
Last fact. Okay, Leo Cohen, I respect you, and you are very brave, and we just let bygones be bygones and start fresh, and I'll support your wholesome endeavors. And will you please not discourage my wholesome endeavors? I am dead serious about paying your tuition to the Island School if you get accepted.
Who's Leo Cohen? Because I feel like a villain has emerged. Is Leo Cohen? Is he Dark Chris Cantelmo?
Oh my God, he could be the one.
Alternate universe Cantelmo.
The yin to his yang.
Guys, can I talk to you about the vitality of owning your shit?
Marie Kondo, how did you get on here?
Do you pick that up? Pick that up. Pick that up.
I don't want to pick it up.
No,
Cantelmo
pick it,
language.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up.
Why
Pick
do
it
you
up.
pick it up? I had this for years.
Pick
It's
it
my
up.
t-shirt.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. Okay, now look at it.
Oh,
Does it
Yeah.
give you joy?
yeah.
It gives
Oh.
me joy. It gives me joy to watch you hold my shit.
Why do you make me do this?
This is the only thing that gets me off.
No.
Anyone who has spent time around me has recently heard me rail against online anonymity. Not owning up to who we are online and in the real world is a major, major problem. Toxicity that occurs between anonymous users here simply would not happen if people use their real names. That's clearly true. Clearly true. That's why there's so much politeness on Facebook.
And people on Twitter
Nextdoor.
who use their real names.
Oh, yeah. Next door, where the racist aren't. I put my real name and phone number out here early on, and everybody freaked out and said it was crazy, and that I would have people coming into my home and do me harm. It is not going to happen. Now that people realize, because I have nothing to hide, I've already exposed myself, dirty laundry and all, for the world to see, I have nothing to fear. Having nothing to fear has made me fearless.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah!
The tautology of fear here.
Follows.
My being fearless is a blessing to humanity because I am a kind and generous soul with a mission of world peace and compassion for the weak, and I can only achieve my goal by being fearless. Anyone who has felt my wrath in recent times is someone who has been mean or dismissive to me or lied about me or hurt someone else who I had the capacity to defend. Pity the poor fool who tries to intimidate a Cantelmoist?
Oh my God.
Cantelmoist.
It's a terrible name.
As we march forward into history, my realization this morning that bioavailability of DMT... Did you know that, by the way? Did you know that it's produced in the brain? Did I ever mentioned that before? I had a stroke of genius once. Is inversely related to atheism. Okay, so DMT is inversely related to atheism.
Wait. Okay, go on.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's illustrative, I think. It should not go unnoticed that the musings of Jennifer White, the porn star, lead me to think about why men and women react differently.
Time out. Listen, I gotta go get more red string for my conspiracy bulletin board.
Gotcha. I got some Jennifer White photos you're looking for. I can help out with that. I got a little flip book.
Is she also a Yale biochemist?
We're all
She does porn on the
here.
side, but you know.
Well, let me find out. Education.
Why? So that is why men are much more likely to identify as atheists than women. Porn stars are not afraid to put themselves out there, obviously. Once one has exposed every nook and cranny of oneself for the world to see, one becomes fearless and honest.
OnlyFans, but for behind the ear and that kind of weird crease area.
Honesty is the best policy. Jennifer's honest inquiry into the biochemical basis for a prolonged DMT experience has led directly to today's revealed truth. There is a biochemical basis for atheism, and Chris Cantelmo explained it with the help of a porn star. Life is beautiful! So, the moral of the story here is to stop hiding behind fake personas, explained with the help... Wait, no, I'm back on the porn star. Sorry, I keep scrolling back up to the porn star.
Sorry, I found her CV. I don't see any Ivy League education experience.
Okay.
But she did win an award for Best POV Sex Scene for Jerk Off Material 6.
Who's POV?
The best POV.
Okay.
It's the best POV sex scene.
It was an honor just to be nominated.
That would be the POBV. The moral of the story is to stop hiding behind fake, false personas and masks and be open and honest and willing to take a chance for what you believe in, and only good things will come of it. I strongly suggest... Yeah. Don't be anonymous on the internet, and only good things will happen. Isn't that true, Reddit? I strongly suggest, so if people, I'm done.
That's fine.
Yeah, you had
DMT made
another
me
stroke of
sleepy now.
genius, so.
Jimmyfranks, can you please take the very next thing in this document?
Oh.
Based on title alone, I'm
Okay, hold on. I gotta. Stare directly into the sun for the love of God.
The love of God, Montresor.
Listen, if you want your body to start producing DMT again, all you need to do is stare directly into the sun. Do it for at least a few minutes a day.
A few minutes.
Now ask yourself, who told me not to stare into the sun? Who is this all-wise person who thought you should not stare into the sun? That was someone who wanted you to not see. It's someone who knew that.
Chloroform in my retina that makes DMT? Is that how this works?
Well, I mean, you're not going to see whether you stare into the sun or not. It's a different kind of sight. But listen, it was someone who knew the glory of the universe is only possible to see if you stare directly into the sun.
Your Honor, when my client said stare directly into the sun,
Now,
he was using a metaphor.
stare directly into the sun for the love of
stare
God.
directly into the sun.
Who would not want you to see the glory of the universe? This ain't rocket science, folks.
I mean, that's true.
As a child, you remember staring
It's the
into
most factual thing yet.
As a child, you remember staring into the sun, even though your parents or teachers might have told you otherwise, right? This is what kids do. They don't listen to their parents and teachers because they know better. It turns out the kids really do know better than their parents and teachers, and since you remember staring into the sun as a child and your eyes are perfectly fine now, or you wouldn't be reading this, why do you think your eyes cannot handle the sun now?
That's true.
If you're
That's
not
true.
reading
hurts.
this, then
It's true. One thing that fourth graders have is just like good impulse control.
Look, ask yourself this important question. Why do I believe what I believe when I can see exactly how things are without having to believe in anything? Open your eyes! You might consider saving your protective eyewear for viewing arc welding sparks and nuclear explosions here on Earth. But the sun was created for your enjoyment. Our enjoyment.
You can actually stare
explosions.
directly at a nuclear explosion. That would be fine. I mean, as long as you were far enough away. The arc welder thing isn't... You don't wear goggles when you're using an arc welder because it's bright. That's not the reason why you're supposed to wear goggles.
Chris can't tell, but
Get
it's great for
hot
enjoyment.
sparks
Why does it
directly
hurt
in
when I
your
look at
eyes.
the sun?
Listen, consider this
Why
for as long as you've
tired?
been... For as long as you've been told that you should not stare into the sun, that the world has only grown more polluted, more contentious, more chaotic, more scared, and more meek. This is not a coincidence. Wake up! Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Today! Start living today. Start living again now.
So is there like a lobby
Look,
in Congress
Stinky,
that's like
the
not
price-
staring into the sun? Need to further this interest.
Never
The
put
lobby.
salt in your eyes.
it's a sunglasses lobby out to shield us from DMT.
Yeah, big pinhole camera in their multi-billion-dollar lobby.
You can't say they're not focused on a single goal.
Whoa, are you gonna read the PS?
Oh, sure. P.S. Hint. Psst. Hint. The opposite is also true, in that depriving yourself of all light has also been reported to restart the brain's natural production of DMT. Oh, there's a reason why people placed in solitary confinement find God, because DMT allows one to see God. How do you think? What? How do you think Nelson Mandela and all of humanity's great beings survived insufferable isolation? Only by the grace of God.
That's right, yeah, because the jailers would deliver him his daily bread, water, and DMT.
Oh my
You
god.
know, if they could, they would.
Good stuff.
Sanguinary, can you tell me about the second law of thermodynamics, please?
Yes, the second law of thermodynamics only works in time reversal.
Okay. Boots, just to catch us up, what is the second law of thermodynamics?
It's an object in motion stays in motion. I don't know.
Really?
microwave.
Okay. I thought that was okay. I don't know offhand either.
That's physics.
This is a...
No, it's entropy. It's just general entropy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This is a fact. Before you freak out, explain your objection to an articulate scientific manner befitting someone from Yale.
Debate me, cowards.
It is true. It is true. It's really hard to explain, but the future is already known because it's actually the past. That's why we should do all the easiest possible things. The easiest possible thing at all times, because we cannot really affect the future. We can only accept it as gently as we allow ourselves.
The easiest possible thing at all time, like all those triathlons that you were in?
Fighting fish is easy. What the fuck are you doing? What do you mean by time reversal? If time is running backwards, and what we call the future is really the past. It's the only way that entropy increases because the world is gaining in complexity and not losing complexity. Antimatter travels backwards in time. The reason matter exists in an overwhelming proportion compared to antimatter is that the formation of matter flows forward in time, and antimatter takes an equal and opposite trajectory backwards in time. I know it seems confusing. This is one realization of which you Sherlocks will be able to find recent evidence in scientific literature.
Nice.
This is a discovery first made by Richard Feynman and confirmed by Chris Cantelmo of Yale University fame.
The Chris Cantelmo?
I love that you can cite yourself as a source.
Chris Cantelmo.
I heard he fought a shark.
2 in 1 day.
Okay, so
It's 2 sharks and a bear.
in the musings category, Chris Cantelmo wrote a screenplay, story, dialogue, one act play for
skit.
Black Box Theater.
He wrote a skit.
Well, he did it Second City style. He improvised it first, and then he workshopped it for a while.
Yeah.
And Boots, you will play the role of Chris Cantelmo.
Yes, I will.
Because of vagina monologues kind of thing. And then, I don't know why that metaphor didn't work at all. Chris Cantelmo's metaphors are infecting my mind.
Did you just have a stroke of genius?
I did have a stroke of genius. And then Cheapskate, you will be the Reddit naysayer, please.
Okay.
And this is a day of the life of Chris Cantelmo, posted May 30th, 2019. Hint, a new idea can only be discovered by someone who hasn't discovered it before.
Hey, look! I discovered the DMT cures cancer.
Radical.
No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
Hey, look! I discovered that DMT is the endogenous neurotransmitter in human childhood. It's produced by our pineal gland.
No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
Hey, look! I discovered that schizophrenia results from continued production of DMT past puberty.
No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
Hey, look! I discovered that autism results from excess levels of natural DMT in the brain, and schizophrenia and autism are basically the same.
Whoa!
Wait. I thought schizophrenia was the right amount and everybody else didn't have enough? And now autism is too much?
No, he put excess in quotes, so it did so-called excess.
Okay. That makes sense. Now it all makes sense.
No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
I like that the Reddit naysayer doesn't disbelieve the actual premise of what Chris Cantelmo is saying.
That's why it's so good.
He's like, no, that statement's wrong because you said it.
Yeah, it's like the economist who says that you didn't find a $20 bill on the sidewalk because somebody else would have picked it up already.
Hey, look! I discovered that the second law of thermodynamics only works in reverse, in time reversal, because the universe is getting less disordered, not more disordered. Entropy is decreasing.
No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
Hey, look, I discovered that E equals MC3, not E equals MC2.
No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
I'm glad to have these conversations with you.
I can see what you keep posting on Reddit. It sounds fun.
This is a very astute summary of Reddit, really. Hey, look, I discovered the explanation for instincts in animals, group selection, and population genetics, the mechanism for migration routes, how to see God, and that aliens are on Earth and waiting to kill you. But not anyone who gets immunized with what? But not anyone who gets immunized with DMT. Oh,
That took a left turn at the end.
the DMT thing is so okay.
How
sorry.
to see God gets fourth billing. No, you didn't. Why hasn't anyone else discovered that already?
And you wonder why I sometimes get a little short-tempered.
Boing.
Cheapskate, tell me about my favorite subject, won't you please?
Oh, you mean memes?
Oh, yes, please.
One of the first confusing things I noticed at Reddit were memes. There were a bunch of photos of roofs with a chimney and a weird word or two. I felt like I was witness to some bizarre, possibly evil coded messaging cult.
A little bit.
Kind of right
maybe.
there, really.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
It took
And
me
then I was like, the Oculus guy made all of these? Really?
It took me a while to see that memes were a very clever means of data transmission. Any picture is worth 1,000 words. Memes were worth up to 1,010 words or more.
Oh, decent
Like current
math.
market
But what if
standards.
there's 12 words in the meme? Then there's like 10
Or
12.
more.
Okay.
What's the conversion rate?
Wait, what if
to
there's
know.
less then? Wait, up to or more? Well, that's confusing.
In my
binary.
Possible. That leaves your options open.
In my interview with r/insider meme rating,
Fuck you, Reddit.
I described memes as images with agendas, and in hindsight, I think this is quite accurate. I
Is this
just
Hideo
read,
Kojima?
Don't all images have agendas?
I just read a comment from a user in response to a meme featuring Spider-Man. The comment was, "If Spider-Man says it, I believe it." This really spoke volumes about the power of
Spider-Manism.
memes.
People don't lie on the internet.
Yeah.
What if he's pointing to another Spider-Man then? Do you have to believe that one as well?
Parker, get me pictures of God. Memes capture the goodwill or ill will associated with the image and harness that to their message, and this is very powerful. Companies, I would imagine, being American, are probably fearful of memes hijacking their trademarks and goodwill associated with their brands or products.
That's right.
Somebody has not been on Twitter whatsoever.
That's right.
This
What
is
if companies were to leverage the power of memes?
culture jamming. This is a fascinating area of our internet culture that I am almost certain will be the subject of litigation in the United States, because in the U.S. everything usually boils down to money and lawyers arguing greedily in a room.
That's not how the legal process works.
So the best
Remember,
memes will
you remember that
remain-
landmark case, Money v. Lawyers?
You actually think a lot of lawsuits are solved by lawyers arguing with each other in a room?
Yeah, we'll have to cite to Chad v. Virgin. So, so the best memes will remain those that hijack the goodwill of their image and deliver a message without constituting trademark infringement. If I were good at making memes, I would make one with the Nike logo and a lawyer
Nice.
saying, "Memes, just don't do it."
Yeah!
Not good at
No,
it,
he
so.
did not. He did not just say
yes,
that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
He
That's
is
what he would
winning
do
the
if he
internet
was-
today, and I am here for it.
That's what he would do if he was good at making memes.
He's just the idea guy. Somebody else has
If
to make it
anyone
happen.
doesn't like that meme, I will give an epic clap back. Sucks. Zarla?
Yeah.
Again, it's just another title that... I mean, Chris Cantelmo is pretty good at writing titles.
It's good at the clickbait, maybe not good at the memes, but... So, gravity is not a separate force, silly physicists.
Like, separate from what?
That deserves 4 exclamation points.
Silly physicists.
I'm super curious as to what force it belongs to.
DMT is for
Friction?
kids.
Is it part of friction?
Since the days of Newton, physicists have discussed gravity as if it were some miraculous action at a distance force field. It's only because gravity was discovered before electromagnetism and atoms that this crazy complexity of forces is brought into the scientific mind. Had electricity and magnetism been discovered first, the concept of gravity probably would have never arose. But even before the word scientist existed, people could see that a rock hurt when it fell on one's foot, and that dropping one's baby accidentally often had dire consequences.
Often?
Often, you know. It makes them stop producing the DMT. So. That's the real tragedy.
Instant puberty.
So the notion was lodged in our head that gravity was a thing. It is a thing. It's actually electromagnetism.
Gravity is electromagnetism?
Yes.
So therefore, either I'm lead or I'm an electromagnet?
Silly physicist.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk to a scientist. You all motherfuckers lying.
It's getting me pissed.
Since
Hey man, I heard about this. I heard about that pelican, man. That was fucked up.
Ran away.
Since Newton, physicists have discovered 3 other fundamental forces of nature, bringing the total to 4: gravity, electromagnetism, weak nuclear force, and strong nuclear force. Unfortunately, for all the textbooks already printed and all the reams of writing and teams of scientists postulating needlessly, there's actually only one force in nature: electromagnetism. Gravity is just electromagnetism played out over extremely long distances relative to the size of an atom. The weak nuclear force is the result of repulsion between like electrical charges over an intermediate distance. The strong nuclear force is what happens after 2 like charges, protons, are forced super close together. They merge to form 1 proton of mass plus 2. I'm just going to skip some of this. Okay.
That sounds fine.
Physicists who are obsessed with the notion of symmetry should have realized that protons do not remain discrete in the nucleus of an atom. Silly
Like OCD
scientists.
physicists?
Silly scientists.
No.
Chris Cantelmo
You
is
guys.
slowly simplifying the needlessly complicated hodgepodge of ridiculous concepts into one big happy family. The unified field theory of physics, the electromagnetic field.
The only problem is that it doesn't make any actual sense.
Love you all,
The
bring it in.
fundamental concept doesn't work at all. Other than that, it's great.
You're
I don't know,
welcome.
I don't believe you've noticed or not, maybe, but he's gone to Yale, so obviously.
You're right. You're right.
I'm a biochemist. I'm an
Not
expert
just
at
magnets,
electromagnetism.
electromagnets, which means that these magnets have electronic charge.
Yeah.
Electromagnets, you know, that's
Natural Earth magnets, though?
that's what you
And
learn
that's
at Yale.
what binds all matter together.
Like a big happy family. Bring it in, guys. I love you.
No, Earth is just one big potato battery.
Then we all get to do
Vortex
drugs.
could draw that.
And we all do drugs because our bodies are making the drugs, but also they've stopped making the drugs. But
Sometimes
there's
they
also
stop
making the drugs.
Sometimes but some people get the drugs more than other drugs.
Yep.
So
And
there's
they're-
drugs on the sun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the sun will give you drugs.
Yeah.
The sun can be your hookup.
The sun will beam the drugs into your eyes.
Imagine going to a dealer and being like, no, man, I got this figured out. You pull off your shades and just stare into the sun.
Why aren't you looking at the
Too
sun?
early to figure out what we learned. Jimmyfranks, coming down to the end here, but what is consciousness?
What is consciousness?
Wake up, Jimmy Franks.
For all history, people have asked, what is consciousness? DMT answers the question, and every other question, too. At this point, any adult who has not taken DMT or made immediate plans to take DMT will be known as one of history's biggest losers. Hell yeah. I'm talking about the NBC show about weight loss.
You hear that, podcast listeners?
I don't want that.
That's a reality show I'd watch, though.
DMT is at the root of consciousness, ingenuity, instinct, bird and animal migrations, schizophrenia, autism, hair growth in men, sexual virulence in men and women, and it also cures cancer and AIDS and is the primary best treatment for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease.
I'm now imagining the reality show that Sanguinary just pitched. it's like a big Fox stage production, right? And so you've got your host he's like Mark Paul Gosselaar, and then the contestants come out on the stage. And then Mark Paul Gosselaar says, "So, are you gonna go do drugs or are you a loser?"
I was thinking in the same format of The Biggest Loser, where they stick you on a scale, but it measures how much DMT you took that week.
Oh my god, yeah.
You get taken out if you haven't taken enough.
If you don't take enough, they lock you in a completely dark room like Nelson Mandela.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You did not take any DMT. You must leave the island.
I think you just described the Onion sex house.
Yeah.
Let me stare at the sun, please.
Mainstream media, when will you get a clue? The secret is out. All tree and plant roots contain DMT. Harvest wisely. Trees feel
Broccoli
it.
is drugs.
But are they willing to sacrifice for your sins? Hallucinations! Fact. Hallucinations are as real as any other object in our visual field and are not an illusion. Hallucinations are visions that are accessible only in the dimension whose view is enabled by the particular hallucinogen. Any adult who does not get immunized against the alien biothreat is an anti-vaxxer. By inhaling vaporized DMT or imbibing ayahuasca, human adults can avoid being sickened and dying from the biological agents being released by our new alien overlords. Any adult who avoids DMT will very soon become plant food. Screw them!
But plants contain DMT, so are they going to become DMT?
No, they're going to just want your DMT. They're just going to reach out, grab it from you.
And the aliens somehow navigated to our system without ever looking at our sun.
Children contain natural DMT in their bodies and do not need vaccination.
Harvest the DMT from the children.
Yeah, I was going to say, eat the children, and then you won't be one of history's biggest losers. Enough said.
Look into the sun, eat children, take more DMT, and lock myself in a dark room. Got it.
Sanguinary, closing things up, I have a choice for you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very exciting choice that you get to make. So, to close the episode off, would you like to share Chris Cantelmo's feelings on autism or Chris Cantelmo's theory on homosexuality?
Oh, these are very good choices you have.
I'm going to say...
Timely, topical, and relevant.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say I'm far more comfortable talking about, homosexuality just because, I've got a little bit of backup in that department, but the autism thing, after the MMS thing, I think we should leave people with autism alone.
All right, so this is a article called "A Clarification to My Homosexual Brothers and Sisters."
Oh, I see a lot of capitals there.
Something happens in the text halfway through.
DMT, I think.
Oh, wow.
In my first video, I flippantly said something to the effect that young teens need not worry about experimenting with psychedelics because they should be focused on their newfound interest in, quote-unquote, the opposite sex. This was not inclusive of the way I feel or how God feels.
Oh.
Though I am a heterosexual, God loves homosexuals, and I love homosexuals as himself and myself.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your statement. So
Only
I
loves
guess we'll just wrap
homosexuals.
up, just to pack these cameras up, just keep the
No.
lights.
I'm not done.
Oh,
Please, I have more to explain. The
Okay.
DMT,
Great.
I just
Okay,
took
good.
it. I took it 5 minutes before this interview, so I
Oh,
needed to hit first.
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
The best idea. So when homosexual boys and girls hit puberty, they need not worry about psychedelics, because they can be absorbed in the sexual features of their peers. How lucky are homosexual kids? They get to connect sexually without having to figure out the whims of the opposite sex.
Okay, yeah, no, like I said, I think let's just pack up the lights,
No,
okay?
I
Let's
got
just,
this.
let's just,
I got this.
you know,
I can
just
feel
feel
it.
like
It's
No
we're
two
burning
people of the
daylight.
same. No two people of the same sex have whims.
Parents,
Get a
be
girlfriend
careful
and do
what you-
drugs at the same time.
Hell yeah. Parents, be careful what you wish for. Would you rather that your kids do psychedelics or that they do their boyfriends or girlfriends? Back to Muse! Okay, listen! There are 4 buttons right below, right now! Do it with no hesitation, no buts, no bets! I need you to press each button right this instant, or I will make you do it! I don't care what you think that Chris is crazy, or at least he talks the truth with actual personality. You better click those 4 buttons and share on your wall and text your friends on every single one of his posts and do it under 5 seconds.
Okay,
and
but
don't
your
come
heart
back
one
if
doesn't
you
actually doesn't do anything. There's only 3 buttons. The heart one doesn't do anything. I think you fucked up the JavaScript.
and don't come back and even make eye contact with me until you do with proof and I see you and you spread the message around to other people. Do you hear me? I will not stand by and watch you not smash each of those 4 buttons and not at least spend 30 seconds thinking about which is best sub. This is in fact for that sweet platinum. Make
Yeah.
10 different accounts
Yeah.
and hit all 4 buttons on them and never come back or even think about Kentosium blah, 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 until you do so. I want to see you put your flyers up saying it. I want to walk up to strangers and say it.
The heart
wait,
button changes the icon so that the heart is red. It does that permanently. So you're like
All right.
favoriting the page, I guess?
Perhaps. I mean, I'm looking at it in Brave, so I'm assuming that like some sort of thing is like hidden in the middle of it. I realize that I'm logged in as Rick Ross Daily, so I guess I could retweet it as Rick Ross.
What you up to today, Rick Ross?
Oh, glad you asked. Let me just look and let me make sure. Okay, and looks like I'm hustling. That's what
Okay.
Oh, good.
Thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Oh, maybe I should invest in some sound dampening if I'm going to continue to do this.
Oh, you're gonna upset your musician upstairs?
Look, that fucker got a drum machine, and I feel this is just revenge.
You know what? If my daughter can handle it, so can your fucking neighbors. What do we learn from any of this F plus?
I have no idea. I feel like all the information about whether or not we have enough DMT or we have too much or we need to get more or we need to supplement or we need to stare at the sun. I'm very confused about my requirements for DMT at this point.
Drugs are everywhere, but not everywhere, and we need more, but less of them. And we can get it, but we can't get it.
It's the Chinese fire drill of spiritual awakening.
I learned he was from Yale 5 times, and in 12 times total in the document.
Yeah. I knew the thing about DMT going in because I definitely had met a man once who was unpleasant, who was telling me that fact about the brain thing, and I looked it up, and I'm sure it's right. I don't know. I mean, it's as right as I cared to research. Sounds fine. But that is, I think that's like his primary fact, right? Is that like so many chemicals that exist in the human body, like this is one that does in a very small amount. And so therefore, it's the only thing that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like it is the origin of his entire universe.
It does appear to be correct.
Right. and that's kind of, I mean, that's a little bit enviable, right? Like, isn't it enviable to think that, like, somewhere out there, like, you know, because this is similar to boner theory, but a little bit different because somebody somewhere out there, somebody took a drug and went boo, and then it seemed like they were just in, like they were just like, this is great, this is the rest of my life, hooray, everything.
Yeah, no, I've definitely, you know, dropped mushrooms and
Sure.
Had extremely profound thoughts
Allegedly.
that died off. Along with all of my emotions.
Yep.
For the 24 hours following.
Yeah. So it is weird that he was able to, like, maintain that motivation afterwards.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was like some sort of addiction loop where as you say, like these thoughts and these emotions drained out, and he was like, fuck, shove more DMT in there. Keep going.
I don't want to, like, you know, try to guess at his actual status of having schizophrenia or not, but, like, this feels like just DMT grown at the very least, because, like even the last thing I read, it was, like, very simple and whatever, and then just fucking busts into, like, a whole paragraph of caps about making sure you fucking like his post.
Yeah, I think like one of the things, and this is maybe just about proximity, because like last night I watched a bunch of that Nixium documentary on HBO, and like you know, that's obviously like evil and like stuff was bad and people were victimized, and this is not the case with Chris Cantelmo. Like, he's just somebody that like writes things on the internet. They're crazy, and that's fine, and that's great, except for, like, with this form of like forward thinking narcissism, if he actually had a cult, bad things would happen.
Yeah.
He spent all that money on Reddit coins to hand out to people, so
so net gain for humanity. And if you want a net gain for humanity, you can watch 24 Terrible Hours, aka Garbage Day, aka Garbage Year, aka other things as well. It's probably on Twitch, or the F Plus Twitch channel. But if it's not, then it's on the website, thefpl.us. Bye.
There's a gateway in our minds that leads somewhere out there, far beyond this plane. We're reptile aliens made of light, cut you open and pull out all your pain. Tell me how you make illegal something that I'll make in our brain. Some say you might go crazy, then again it might make you go